2017 regular school board meeting. Would everybody stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And would the treasurer call the roll, please?
Mr. Luby.
Here.
Mr. Height.
Here.
Mr. Bostic.
Here.
Mr. Gregerson.
Here.
Mr. Patrizio.
Here. Then we'll move on to the approval of the minutes for June 13th, 2017 regular meeting and our July 10th, 2017 emergency meeting.
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The minutes have been approved. We'll move on to the agenda. Does any board member have anything to add to the agenda items? Very good. Saying that, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. We'll move on to board reports. Mr. Luby, Mr. Height, Upper Valley Career Center.
We're going to tag team this one. I'm going to do the one for June 26th. Several policy adoptions. We still remain to be updated. We accepted a grant from Hartzell Norris Trust to assist with purchasing equipment for a mobile machines lab, and Hartzell Norris is helping with that. We had bids have been opened, and a contractor has been selected for the new vet science facility that's going to be constructed out by the Career Center. And if everything goes right, it's supposed to be slated to be occupied by the start of the second semester this year, assuming everything goes right. A lot of personnel changes. We took care of several of those at the June meeting. And also, if you've been following the paper, and there have been some more things in too, several of our students have done very well at the recent Skills USA National Conference. So good things at the Career Center.
Okay, I'll do part two. The board met on July 24th, 2017, Monday of this week. Dr. Luce opened the meeting reflecting on the recent passing of Dr. Barbara Wagner, retired adult director at the vocational school. And she was an outstanding educator, an outstanding person, and will be greatly missed. Dr. Luce also shared the beginning of the school year schedule with when the staff returns, schedule pickup day, et cetera, et cetera. The board appointed a delegate and an alternate delegate to represent the Career Center at the delegate assembly during the OSBA Capital Conference in November. Also, the board accepted a grant in the amount, what was over $11,000, received from the Hartstein Favorite International Vocational Fund to assist students participating in the German Apprenticeship Exchange Program, which has been an outstanding program for the Career Center. Policy revisions were shared with the Board of Education for approval, and there were a group of those policies that were approved by the board. Also, the board approved high school faculty and classified staff handbooks for the current year. A calamity day resolution was approved that would allow the staff to utilize electronic lessons to make up for the hourly equivalent of 3 missed school days in the event of inclement weather or some type of emergency. There were 2 shared service agreements dealt with. One of them deals with us, the fact that we're going to share a food service supervisor between the 2 districts, and also special needs job coaching from RT Industries will be shared with the Upper Valley Career Center. 2 executive sessions were held to discuss various matters, and the next meeting will be scheduled for Monday, August the 18th, I believe. Or is it the 28th, Andy? 28th, August the 28th.
I hope it's not the 18th.
No, it's not. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Height and Mr. Luby. And we'll move on to the hearing of the public on agenda items. Are there any members here that would like to speak on agenda items of the public? Either one.
They don't have to stay on my agenda, but they can come up now if they want.
I itemized.
You're on the agenda.
Okay.
So I went ahead.
We can do it now, it's
Sure.
okay. Let me give a quick introduction, can I? All right, so Anna Baumeister and Ruth Kuhn are here tonight. Anna Baumeister works at the chamber office and made contact with me. We've worked together on several projects, and was just talking about how over the years, things have changed with the chamber, and some of the programs and partnerships we've had have either become outdated or have waned. So we wanted to make some connection, and through all of our brainstorming sessions, this idea came up on the garden project that we were planning with the Nicklin property. So she got in touch with Ruth, and I probably don't need to say another word because you can imagine when the two of them got together, I describe it as a train going downhill. We're just not going to stop it. So, but I'm amazed because they have reached out to the community, and some really amazing things are happening with this property, and this project is going to be great. So I'm not going to steal any of your thunder, but I just want to thank you guys. You've been great to work with, and it's been a joy to watch this happen. And I think by the end of August, you're going to see some kids over there with dirty hands, and it's going to be fun. So with that, why don't you come up and share a little bit about where we are with it.
All right. Stand over here
Right there in the microphone. Yep.
with our back.
See the microphone right here?
Yes, but with our back to the, look at you guys.
Okay, great. Well, this is, it's always nice to see so many friendly, familiar faces around the table. Thank you for letting Anna and I come and talk to you about this exciting program that's going to start in the Piqua City Schools. Anna, you want to start off by talking a little
Well,
bit?
actually, let me say that this was Ruth's idea because what happened was Dwayne and I were talking, and it's exactly like what he was saying. We were just tossing ideas about. Well, then I had contacted Ruth about pretty much the same thing, like we need some type of a community project that we could get together on. Well, she kind of tossed out the little idea of, I have a school, what about a schoolyard garden? Well, oh my, that sent me back to Dwayne, and I'm like, I have this amazing idea. What do you think about this? Well, then, let me just also say that when Dwayne gets involved in this, then it's a really big train, and we really go fast. So it's like I have to give credit to him for just kind of leading us down the path on this. But anyways, that's how we ended up at the Nicklin lot with Dwayne, and we just kind of started finding people within the community and businesses that could really just wrap their heads around this and you know, hop on that train with us, and we've had some amazing support. We have the Master Gardeners, Miami County Master Gardeners, who is led by Amanda Bennett from OSU, so we have that connection there. Of course, we have Dwayne and Scott Bloom and the Chamber, and now we're at the point where the raised garden beds have been built and moved out to the lot, and that was sponsored by a lot of local businesses and individuals. So we've really just had wonderful support for the project overall.
This is not going to be the only garden in Miami County, but it is going to be the largest schoolyard garden. So Piqua is going to be attached to the largest schoolyard garden in the county. And of course, we will let the commissioners know about the county commissioners know about that. As Anna said, we could not have picked a hotter day than last Saturday to build the gardens. We were going to try to do it outside, but then Dwayne offered us the 2 bays where they pulled out 2 of the buses, and so 6 volunteers built 12 of these 3-foot by 12-foot cedar gardens, and then they transported them to the empty lot, the Nicklin Avenue School empty lot, and they are there if you want to drive by. They're there right now, and Mark Casto is our designer. He has them, he's leveling them. It's going to be absolutely perfect according to Mark Casto, who is a perfectionist. The thing that, besides Dwayne's leadership and support with this, Scott Bloom has been absolutely wonderful. We can't tell you how pleased the Master Gardeners are, because the Master Gardeners are the ones who are going to be instructing all of the children. There'll be 250 plus kids involved. Each one of the classrooms will have their own raised garden. There will be a teacher will accompany the Master Gardener, but they will have all their instruction will be in the outdoor classroom under this large, beautiful tree that is located on this It is one of the most beautiful lots. Now that it's empty, you can't imagine the school was there. But it's a beautiful lot with a lot of trees. One main tree that's going to be the outdoor classroom will have picnic tables under there for the children. As Anna said, we have the 13 raised gardens have all been sponsored by either a business or by an individual. We have applied to a number of grants. We've received quite a bit of money that way, but the community support has been absolutely outstanding. And excuse me, the other thing that we want to, I don't think I have to tell anybody about a schoolyard garden, how the children are going to be able to learn more about where their food comes from. You know, they just think they go to the grocery store and there it is, it just appears. And healthy eating, and what a great usage of this empty lot. So we're hoping that maybe Piqua's, with Anna's leadership and the Chamber of Commerce, we will bring something to mind for a lot of the other communities in our community and beyond, and Piqua will become the leader for doing one of these schoolyard gardens, and we're doing it right. So thank you very much for having us this evening, and thank you, Dwayne, for your leadership and support.
I do want to mention one thing. We are going to do a presentation to the Piqua City Schools and Piqua Catholic School on August 17th at 5 p.m. out at the garden. And please join us, because we really want to celebrate having this done and presented to the schools. So it's beautiful.
If there's any questions that we might answer?
What time will the presentation?
5 p.m.
5
We have a business after hours scheduled out there.
The garden will be fenced. It'll be fenced similar to the new school across the street, the black 6-foot powder-coated fence. Will be beautiful. And we are working on our water supply right now, and I think that's going to be resolved. So everything is in place to start in the fall. By the way, we will start this fall. Then it will become kind of dormant maybe for the winter months, and then take up again in the spring. So the harvest maybe can be shared also in the cafeteria, where maybe the children can learn that their salad today came from the schoolyard garden.
Yeah.
Ruth, if anybody wants to donate money, where should they send that to?
To the Piqua Chamber.
The Chamber Foundation. That's fine, or you could actually list on there the Garden Tribe. It's going to be called the Garden Tribe.
Thank you very much for letting us come
Good,
tonight.
thank you.
You.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great
Really
program.
appreciate it.
I know it's a little out of the agenda order, but do you have anything else to say about?
Nope, just, I can't be more excited, and like I said, I go to these meetings, and the Master Gardeners are amazing, because they are a very enthusiastic group, and they're getting fingerprinted and approved to be volunteers, because they're gonna be right there next to the kids. And some of them are actually retired teachers from Pickle, which is even better, because they have that true connection with us already, so. It's fun to watch those meetings, because they're very orderly, and Ruth will ask, did you get your job done? Did you get it? And people are beyond that. I mean, they go beyond the job, and they get more. And you just go around this table, and you think it's such a great piece, because it's just flowing very well. So it's really exciting. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank
Thank
you
you.
for all your work.
Yeah. Thank you.
We'll move on to the treasurer's agenda. Mr. Hiddle?
Good evening. This is the first time I've seen you since the close of the fiscal year, and now that we're into July, and we did end our 10th year in the black, so we're, again, fiscally sound and healthy, and that's a good thing. Were there any questions about the June reports that you had received? And then also, I did put a list of fund-to-fund transfers together. The resolution you passed last month allowed me to do those, but I wanted to make sure that those were included and that you saw what they were. Were there any questions about any of those? Okay, that's all I actually have for this evening.
Very good. May I have a motion to approve the treasurer's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Move on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Each July and each December, we report on our bullying incidents. We have an electronic system where students and parents can get on there and they can report any kind of incident of bullying. We spend a great deal trying to educate people on what bullying is and how we can help not only stop it, but provide the supports that we need for students. So Mr. Lyons and I spent a lot of time this year looking at our numbers and statistics and what kinds of incidents have come in. Some might be anonymous, some aren't. We just kind of go back and forth, and we looked at how we can improve our process to not only, again, prevent it and to be proactive about preventing it, but what do we do to provide the support students need. So Tony manages the Public School Works program where that comes in. We work together on it, but he has all the numbers and statistics, and we'll let him talk about those and some of the ideas we've come up with, as well as we've met with principals and furthered that work. So Tony, go ahead and share that if you would.
Just to continue with that, before we get to the numbers piece, the process through Public School Works is, and we've talked about this here before, and for everybody who's listening, is you can report through our electronic system that's found on the website. One of the things we wanted to do as we met with our principals this summer was to make sure that we're as proactive as possible and as available as possible for people, our parents and our students especially. So adjusting where that's found so that as soon as you get to the website, you can find it, the bullying reporting tab. And then once you get there, making sure that the language is clear. So as we met with principals, we wanted to make sure that one of the problems we had 29 total reports, but one of the problems that we have is many of them are anonymous. It's incredibly difficult to investigate anything that's anonymous. So if we don't have a name in there, even if it's the child's name's not mentioned, it's almost impossible for us to get to the bottom of what's really happening. Those that we do have some information on, the principals do a great job of figuring out what's going on and coming to a resolution and providing support for the students involved. So working with Public School Works, we worked on some language to include that would allow the user to get in there and see before they submit anything that if you remain anonymous, we might not be able to investigate fully, and that's important for people to realize as they submit. And then false reports. That's another thing that we get, certainly with the access to, especially your older kids, sometimes they put things in there and that are inappropriate or they think they're funny, but we added the statement in there as kind of a disclaimer about false reports and those things being serious. But the additional parts are, we want to make sure we can collect as much information from the submitter as possible. So we talked to Public School Works about adding some pieces to that puzzle. Can we add a location where the incident happened, or there are witnesses, and can you provide some additional names? So we're currently working through that with Public School Works, and Sean Toadvine from PSW, he's great to work with, so we're trying to get some things adjusted with that. Also, as we met with principals, we wanted to make sure that we had a specific plan in place for when we do identify incidents of bullying. And we have. We had 2 specific incidents of bullying. And you got to remember, based on the definition, there are a lot of pieces that have to come together for it really, truly to be a bullying incident. And we had 2 this year. And the key that we came up with, as we discussed, isn't necessarily a punitive piece that goes with the kiddo who's being the bad guy, essentially, but it's the follow-up and the support that we can provide for the kid who's being bullied. And making sure that's not happening again. And one of the solutions we came up with as a team was we have crisis response teams, crisis intervention teams in all of our buildings that when things happen, we can pull those folks together. We're going to do the same thing called a bullying response team. So when we determine that it is an incident, we can pull this group together and really deal with not only the punitive side again, but what are we going to do to support these kiddos in an ongoing way, communicate with parents in an ongoing way. So not only that it's not happening anymore, but we have those supports in place, because oftentimes it's that long-term support that really needs to be in place for all the kids involved. So that was the biggest part to come out of that. I think what we want to do is make sure that we send the message to everyone that we want to be proactive. We want to be in front of it as much as possible. We want to be able to get those reports. When people feel like they need to report anonymously, we want them to be able to communicate with us. So if they want to have a meeting privately with us and not have their name out there, that we can do that. And all, at the end of the day, it's to make sure that our kids are safe and happy while they're in school. So right now, like I said, 29 total incidents reported, and that's through the hotline, and 2 founded. And what I do is I go through each one of the reports, and I can see what the principals say, and read through those and review them and make sure that we have them all, and then follow up with the principals throughout the year.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tony, bullying in this day and age, as we compare it, and you've been around the block with different districts and everything, do we have more bullying now than we've had in the past, or is bullying just becoming more prevalent in the newspapers, in the media? Has that helped to make it such a big topic?
What I think has happened is it's changed because of the online piece to it. For example, we had a situation this year where two girls got into an argument, a debate. The principal worked with them about 45 minutes. They were fine. They shook hands and said, we're going to work through this and we're going to be good. There was no bullying there, even though the initial bullying report came through. That tipped us off to work with them. They went home, and then one of them got on social media and said, hey, so-and-so called me this name, whatever, and it just turned into a fire we couldn't control because we're here, they're there. So by the time the next day came, 20 kids are involved with this debate. It was fixed before they went home. They left and got into a different environment. With social media and with technology comes a lot of responsibility, and we have a lot of young kids sometimes that get on there that don't know that constraint. So it becomes really big. That then comes back to the school, and now we've got a really big issue. Then you've got a lot of investigating, a lot of work that you have to go through. In my day, kids kind of called each other's names. You went home and you were done. It kind of worked out or whatever. But sometimes that social media just really
Kills
kind of
us, yeah.
perpetuates it. So
Access is everything. Our kids
Yeah.
have access to everything. The one nice thing now that's different is we provide people an avenue that's pretty quick to respond to us. They can share that information, whereas, like Dwayne said, I mean, you might have an incident, it gets squashed at school, it's done, forgotten about, but they go home and they continue to fire away at each other through social media. Our junior high principal and the junior high had the most reported incidents, and almost in every case, although not bullying, it's still an incident that we need to deal with. Almost all their incidents were related to social media this year, and almost all of them didn't happen on our campuses. They happen outside of school, they carry in. So,
Second question, when we determine the aggressor in the bullying situation, are we dealing with that through the discipline? Because
absolutely.
I have nothing but strong feelings about dealing with people that
We
bully
agree.
people.
Aggressively.
You can't have it,
Yeah.
you can't have it.
and it becomes progressive discipline. So if it were to continue, it gets more severe in terms of what happens. When it gets to me, if it's an expulsion hearing, we just don't tolerate it. I mean,
Good.
we're very clear about it. And many times, we put in a re-entry plan in place. So if there's a pervasive piece that's happening, we will say, here's when the expulsion ends, but it's conditional to you coming back and indicating that you've worked with a counselor, you provided your child with some kind of services, and that person can talk to me and say, I think that this child's back on track and things are going really well. So we've done that a good handful of times this year in terms of when it ends, we want kind of evidence that says it really is safe to bring you back into the setting.
Kids shouldn't have to fear coming to school,
Absolutely.
at all.
And to that point, like one of the reasons we have the PBIS that we talk a lot about was we just no longer consider kids coming to school knowing what our expectations are. Just to say you're in junior high school and you know how to behave just isn't anymore. People come from different backgrounds, different home lives, and there are just certain settings and rules we expect at school for a learning environment. So we're really clear in terms of what does it mean to be kind and respectful and all those important pieces. Each grade level has that same benchmark, but it's set for third grade at this level a certain way, the junior high, the intermediate, and so on. So we just quit taking it for granted. So we really bring them in. We try to be very proactive and say, this is what it means to be kind to your students, your teachers, and everybody in the school. This is what we expect. And then we reinforce that, hoping that kids are getting that piece so it doesn't become something pervasive. But if it does, then it becomes reactionary, and we do get progressive with it.
Another thing we have to teach people how to.
Yes.
Constantly.
Right?
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's an important piece.
Oh, yeah,
You just-
oh,
you
yeah.
just can't,
Great.
can't ignore it, so.
Tony, the anonymity, how do you deal with those people that, whether it's the electronic that we use or the social media that's out there that just, is there anything that,
It's tough. I think one of the things that you do is, once you get it, especially in the bullying reporting, even though it's anonymous, it makes you aware that there may be an incident. I always say that in everything there's a little bit of truth, so even we see things on Facebook that are false every day, just crazy, and people can kind of post anything they want. Same thing here, but again, because it's an electronic avenue and there's anonymity to it. But as the principal, we see all those reports that come too. So even though it's anonymous and it might be difficult to investigate, we contact the principals and say, hey, there might be an incident here or something to be aware of. Watch this location or give us some feedback on what you see. So if nothing else, it gives us some information, it gives us a little bit more awareness, and it causes us to watch things sometimes a little more closely because of that report. So even though it's difficult to investigate, it's still good for the awareness part.
I always end my meetings with parents with stay off social media for the next month. You can't unsee it, you can't unread it, you can't, once you get somebody's hurtful words, threats or whatever it is, you can't not think about it. So I just say, after the incident, just stay off social media and just try to avoid that for a while. Let yourselves cool down because it really just keeps fueling it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lyons. Last part is, believe it or not, our next board meeting is going to be when school's in session, and it's crazy, but we feel like we have a lot of work to do, but we've also come really far. Our schools are looking really great. Buildings are really coming together. Just want to remind parents that we are still collecting bus forms until July 31st. That enables our transportation department to get all the routes in place and ready to go, so when we have Indian Days, our Indian Days are at each one of the locations. They're posted on our website. They can put all those routes up, parents can see them, and they'll be set. So we've communicated that multiple times through our Instant Connect. Again, that's on our website. We've done social media. We've been out on Twitter. So parents have responded really well about bringing those forms in, getting all that information in. Routes are starting to get developed. Again, Indian Days are out. All the school supply lists are out at all the local stores. It also has information about bus routes, our Indian Day schedules. It's on our website as well. So we've been getting good feedback in terms of parents coming across all that. So good progress, and we're gearing up. We're getting ready to go. So
Very good. We'll move on to superintendent's agenda.
I'd like to recommend the board to approve the Pickle Central Intermediate Student Handbook. They were waiting on a couple of additional pieces for field trips that they wanted to get in there, so we got that finished. Recommend board approval of the attached staff handbooks, same thing for the 2017-18 year for Pickle Central. And recommend board approval of the attached Piqua City School District free and reduced lunch policy for the 2017-2018 school year. Recommend board approval of the attached list of textbooks for disposal, sale, or removal from the inventory of the Piqua City School District. Every once in a while, you find a set of books in a closet that's just been outdated. A few teachers have hung on because they might have a good story or grammar never changes and they like that book. So sometimes those teachers will send them after they've really worn out, and that's all those are. They're not replacements, just old textbooks, and that's it.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions about the superintendent's agenda? Have a motion to approve it.
So moved.
A second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. We'll move on to the personnel agenda. Mr. Lyons, could you introduce our guest today?
Absolutely. In fact, I'd like to have our guests come up with their special family member that they may have brought with them, so you can introduce that person as well. I know Nate's in the house back there, and Kyle and Jacqueline. So come on up to the mic and give us a brief introduction. And for the board, you see several resignations and things like that here. It's been a busy rest of the June and into July, but I'll tell you, we have gotten an amazing group of incoming teachers, and we're really, really, really excited. And one of those people, just last week, I think, we finished things up with Jacqueline. So happy to have her on board, and she's also a new Pickle resident.
I know.
Too. She and her mom have been working hard to find that place, and it sounds like
Yeah.
it's going to work out great. So, Jacqueline.
Yeah, so I'm Jackie Gilbride, and I just wanted to say thank you for this opportunity. I'm so excited to be part of your staff and your community. I've been welcomed with open arms, and I'm just in awe. It's been amazing so far. It's literally been 2 weeks, and I'm ecstatic. So I would like to say thank you, and this is my mom, Tracy, who's helping me out. And we've been back and forth the past 2 weeks, I think 3 or 4 times. We're from 3 hours away from Massillon, Ohio. So I'm very excited to make Pickle my home. So thank you.
Welcome. yeah.
Welcome.
They still play football up in
Ah.
I didn't know they did.
That was great.
Just a little.
She didn't know I was gonna make her do that, did
Yeah.
she? See?
My name is Kyle Ratliff. We actually have lived in Piqua for the last 2 years. We graduated from Bowling Green State University. This is Maddie Armstrong. She is a special ed teacher at Piqua Central, and she puts up with me, so that's even more impressive title. But we've lived in Piqua for the last 2 years. For the last 2 years, I've taught at Bradford High School. Really gotten a chance to know the community, really fallen in love with the community of Piqua, and then got an opportunity to meet a lot of great people that work within Piqua City Schools. So that's kind of what drove me to pursue a position here, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity. So,
And I don't know that you mentioned it, but he's gonna be teaching social studies at the high school.
Yep.
Coaching some different things for us, and he did mention that Maddie's not only a teacher, but a superstar teacher for us. So it's great to have them both in the community.
Thank you.
Welcome.
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 Nate?
Hi guys, most of you know me. I'm Nate Toon. I am going to be the network facilitator going forward. This is my wife Charity, who also graduated from Piqua, and my 2-year-old fireball Henry.
We can tell.
Yes.
Hi, Henry.
Appreciate the opportunity. I thank you for the vote of confidence, and I am looking forward to what we're going to do going forward.
Congratulations, Nate.
Thank you, Nate.
And congratulations to everybody. And again, we have some other hires on here that aren't able to be here this evening. But again, great group. And once again, as you look through the agenda, as we always wrap up, the list of volunteers, we thank all those people for their time and energy that they put into our young people every day. And that group becomes much more important as we get into the 17-18 school year. So that's it for the personnel agenda. I recommend board approval for proposed agenda items.
Does anybody have any questions about anything on the personnel agenda? Well, welcome, all of you, and thank you for coming. I
I'm
hope
glad
you
you're
en-
living in Pickle.
Yeah, we like to see people. Here. Ms. Gerhart, congratulations.
May I have a motion to accept the personnel agenda or approve it?
So moved?
May I have a second?
Second.
And will the treasurer call the roll, please?
Mr. Height,
Aye.
Mr. Bostic,
Aye.
Mr. Luby,
Aye.
Mr. Gregerson,
Aye.
Mr. Patrizio.
Aye. New business, we have a couple items. One is recommend the board approval of a first read and emergency approval of a Neola board policy.
Yeah, it's regarding gifted education, and it came out from Neola the very last minute, and it actually, they were requesting us to approve it actually after it was supposed to be approved, and it was just a delay in what they do. But the main course of it is making sure more students are included in the identification process. So they've got some new legislation in there that instead of, a parent can always say, I'd like to have my kid tested, a teacher can do that. But it's requiring districts to offer grade level screening. We've always done that in Piqua. We do it at 2nd grade, 5th grade typically. We also have some high school level areas if we need to, but it's just really finalizing that and saying to school districts, you really do need to do a grade level so no student is missed if at all possible. So they wanted to get that in before the school year started so districts were prepared because it's usually a nationally normed test. So usually there's a cost to that. So that's what that is.
And the second item on there, on the new business, is recommend board approval of the attached resolution and determining to proceed with the submission of a renewal tax levy.
A little bit of background on that. It started in 2003, was reapproved in 2008, and then in 2013. It's renewed every 5 years. The school district has never asked for additional taxes out of it, and we still are not doing that. We've been very fiscally sound, very good with our dollars from our predecessors all the way up through us. We do have a taxpayer bill of rights. I give the board a lot of credit. I've been here for many years and I've seen that whole process develop, and whether it's me or anybody after me or whatever, there's a really good path that happens in our district to make sure that we're very conservative, and so when we've been in the black for 10 years, this allows us to continue that and to maintain just the current funds that we've always had in place. Is $2.1 million. Without it, it would be very critical to our budget. So it is a renewal. There's no new taxes. We're very gracious to the community for having passed this several times. I really, again, as an educator, as a citizen, and my kids go to the schools, I can't appreciate it enough that they've done that. So with this passage, it allows us to, again, to continue to maintain our current budget and to just to remain where we are, so.
Very good. Does anybody have any question on either of these items?
The Neola policy, is that the gifted one?
It is. Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Do we ever sometimes maybe get children too early? You know, they may just be a little bit ahead, but then as they go through the grades,
Sure.
maybe they start finding some.
So it's a good question, because unlike special education, if you have special education and you qualify for an IEP, you can eventually get tested out of that and no longer need the IEP services. With gifted, legislation says, once you qualify, you're always gifted. So we're very cautious, and that's why we wait till second grade. There are a lot of kids that come into school with great experiences. Their parents may have traveled, they read a lot to them, they did a lot of good things, and it's a great start. Sometimes those kids wane off or even out, and they really aren't gifted. It's just a matter of they've just had really great experiences. So we do wait till second grade. If they qualify then, we continue to at least enrich or provide those experiences. And there's lots of different things. They can have pull-out, they can have acceleration where they either skip some content or they go to another grade level, or they can receive instruction in the classroom. So as things get adjusted to meet the students' needs, they get a new plan every year, we can make the adjustment to the services. So if it's too intense, we can back off and adjust it and do what we need to do.
Because I think is gifted in a category with the testing.
Yes.
So if they would have been identified, then they're no longer performing at that level, that kind of,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I thought, okay.
Dwayne, are those standards for gifted pretty enriched? In other words, it's not real easy to qualify. Is that what we're saying, or not?
It's not. And I will tell you this, we've had some great, we have great gifted team, and they're very up on all the tests that qualifies the students. And they've really identified some tests that they believe are not good screeners. They believe that they're just not good indicators of this student is ready for that kind of rigor. So I think even our screening tools are pretty challenging and pretty high level, where it's just not easy for a kid to get identified. And if they go through the grade level screening in second grade, maybe they get to fourth and they're still doing great, a teacher could step forward or a parent could step forward and say, I really want my kid tested. We're obligated to do that. We would do it anyways. We put in that test measure, and if they qualify, they get services right away. We don't make them wait till the next grade level screening.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay. I have a motion to approve the new business items.
So moved?
I have a second.
Second?
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Nothing. Anything else?
Just one last thing. We just found out 2 days ago that one of our math teachers, Joyce Bostic, is going to be recognized by the National Council of Mathematic Teachers as the National Math Teacher of the Year. And she was up for this one other time, didn't get it, and she was great with that. Came back again. They contacted her. She reapplied. I had the privilege of writing a letter on her behalf, and it was a great, sincere letter, because I've worked with her for years as a curriculum person, but my own twin daughters experienced her last year. My son is going to get to this year. So the fact that she got this is exciting, because I've just seen her in action, and I cannot be more excited by the fact that one of our math teachers is getting recognized by a national level, very high level, good math organization. So happens to be Mr. Bostic's wife, and we're just very, very proud of her, and she's going to represent us and Pickle very well.
Truly my better half.
Yeah. I agree with that too.
That's what it's great of, but, yep.
She'll get recognized, I believe, in October. In fact, I believe it's the night of our October board meeting, so we might need to rethink that, because I know Mr. Bostic's going to be there. I've been invited.
I'd like to go to the ceremony.
I and the principal have been invited as well to celebrate that with her, so we'll have to figure out if we want to do something potentially different. So, yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Well, she thanks
I think
all
it's
of
a
us. Thanks you very
wonderful-
much. That's really something. You know, she's really not totally happy, and I guess that's what drives her. she found out going through testing scores, all but one of her students this year didn't make it. And she's like, I'm a failure. But that drives her, that just makes her work harder, and she's just that mentality. She wants everybody to, you know, and that's what you try and shoot for, but, you know,
We're very proud of her.
no, she thanks you.
Very good. Do we have any, on the hearing of the public non-agenda items, is there anyone in the public that would like to speak that has not already? Do any board members have anything additional?
No.
And we will adjourn. Our next meeting is August 31st, 2017, at 6 p.m. at Spring Creek. And school will be in session then. We are adjourned.